How do you calculate whether a pawn sacrifice in the Sicilian defense is worthwhile? Have you ever wondered how to determine if sacrificing a pawn in the Sicilian defense is a smart move? Let's break it down step by step. First, you need to evaluate the compensation for the pawn you are giving up. This means looking at how your pieces will develop and whether you can create threats against your opponent. If sacrificing a pawn allows you to quickly mobilize your pieces and control important squares, it might be worth it. Next, consider the control of the center. In the Sicilian defense, controlling the central squares like d5 and e4 is vital. For instance, if you can remove a defender from the center, such as a knight on c3, this can give you a significant advantage. Another factor to assess is whether your sacrifice weakens your opponent's pawn structure. If your move can double their pawns or create isolated ones, this can lead to long-term benefits. Weak pawn structures can be easier to attack later in the game. Now, let's talk about initiative and attack potential. The Sicilian defense is known for its sharp attacking chances. If your pawn sacrifice leads to a strong initiative or opens lines against your opponent's king, it often justifies the material loss. Different types of sacrifices come into play here. For example, an exchange sacrifice, like giving up a rook for a knight on c3, can disrupt your opponent's pawn structure. This can lead to better piece activity and attacking chances, even if you are down material. Another common sacrifice is the pawn sacrifice for development, like in the Smith-Morra Gambit. Here, white gives up a pawn early to speed up development and open lines. While this can be risky, it can also create rapid pressure on your opponent. You should also assess the specific details of the position. Tactical calculations are essential. Check if your sacrifice leads to forcing moves that can win material back or create a strong attack. Piece activity and coordination are also important. After the sacrifice, do your pieces become more active? Is your opponent's king in danger? Lastly, think about the endgame prospects. Sometimes, being down a pawn is acceptable if it leads to a better pawn structure or more active pieces that can help you later. Using relative piece values can serve as a rough guide. A pawn is worth 1 point, while knights and bishops are about 3 points, rooks 5 points, and queens 9 points. When you sacrifice a pawn, aim to gain compensation that equals or exceeds this value in positional or tactical terms. In the Sicilian defense, common pawn sacrifices, like those on c5 or the exchange on c3, often aim to disrupt the opponent's center. Timing and accuracy are critical. A poorly supported sacrifice can lead to a material deficit without any compensation. To get better at this, study model games and typical sacrifice patterns in the Sicilian defense. This will help you understand when a sacrifice is likely to yield good results. By balancing material loss against gains in development, control, and attacking chances, you can make informed decisions about pawn sacrifices in the Sicilian defense.